Is this thing on? Come on. Tell me this thing's on. It's Monday morning. It's Monday morning here on hashtag Rise and Grind. You know, they say a marathon is ran in three parts. You got the first 10, you got the second 10, and then you got the last 10. Even though it's only a 26-mile race. 26.29 race. Got to be careful. I know I got some runners on here, right? But they say it's ran in three parts. The first 10, the second 10, and the last 10. They say that the first 10 miles is ran with your head. It's the part of your race that's slow, steady, calculated, prepared. It's the part that you plan for. You don't want to let yourself jump too far ahead. You don't want to exert too much energy. The first 10 is mental. Applying the strategy that you know you need to have in place in order to get through this thing so that you can win. The second 10, they say that part is done through your training. The second 10 is where you can kind of find your groove. The way that you've been trained, you've been running, you've been leading up to this race. And so on that second 10, you just kind of want to settle in. You want to settle into your groove, your pace, nobody else's. You know where you need to be. You know that pace that you need in order to attain your goal. You've gone slow and steady that first 10 to get yourself in the right mindset. And now here you are. You're throttling it up, and now you're putting it in cruise control. This is the cruise control part of your marathon. Then they say that last 10, which is actually 6.29, but they call it 10. Because I'm sure it's ridiculously difficult. I've never done this before. Maybe I will one day. But they say that last 10 is done with your heart. The last 10 is going to take all the passion and determination, everything that you have. Everything that's in you, everything that's been built up in you over the years, all of the training, all of the hours, all of the discipline, all of the dedication, all of that is going to come in that last 10. You're going to need all your heart, all your passion, all your soul, all of your energy, and you just let it rip. You just let it go. You just tear into those last 6.29 miles, a.k.a. that last 10, with all your heart and soul. You see, I think in these trying seasons that we're going through right now, I think we need to assess in the same way as though we're running a marathon. You see, first I want you to check what's in your head. What's your mental space look like right now? And what are you feeding it? Where are you mentally, and is that a safe place to be? You see, I know for a while there, I was watching the news in the beginnings of this season in transition, and I was watching the reports every night at 5 o'clock and at 7 o'clock, and it was interesting because my household had never been a household to watch news. We had never, ever done that before. I was a huge advocate actually against doing that. My children had never seen a news report, ever. My daughter is 10 years old. She'd never seen the news before. She'd never seen a press conference. She'd never seen any of those things. And in my house, we started watching those at 5 o'clock as my wife's prepping dinner, and then sitting there and eating dinner while we're listening to the President of the United States, while we're listening to our different governors. And I'm hearing all of these different words like death and mortality and fear. And I'm looking over at my kids and I'm thinking, what am I doing? Why is it I came this far? I allowed my daughter to go 10 years without ever seeing a news bulletin or a press conference. And now it's part of our dinner. Where am I at mentally right now? What am I feeding it? And what kind of result can I expect from that? As I started to ask myself that question, we got rid of that. That hasn't happened in our house now for about 10 days. Instead, what we do is when we sit around having dinner as a family, we play I'm going on a picnic and I'm gonna bring. You guys remember that game? Any of you ever play that? We used to play it with I remember playing with my mom and my dad when we were on car rides. I'm going on a picnic and I'm going to bring, and everybody gets to make a rule, and we sit around the table and we laugh and we try to figure out the rule, and Fisher says he's bringing a dinosaur. He always wants to bring a dinosaur, and it's a completely different experience. Completely different. And mentally, since we've made that shift, I've been able to personally make some progressions, been able to create some things with Judge and Matt Monero, been able to really connect with my 800% club members and my CMA team and deliver some incredibly valuable training. I've been able to write courses and create. I've been able to do a lot of other things once I started to really pay attention to what I was feeding my mind. We were feeding our minds lack and fear, and that was the result that we were getting. So what are you feeding your mind? The second part is we need to remember our training, right? You see, the first 10 is a mental game of the marathon. The second 10 is where we go into our training kicks in. So remember your training. How have you carried through seasons of your life before? You've gone through seasons, you've had hard times, you've dealt with struggles, you've dealt with things. How have you handled those in the past? How have you gotten through that? You are a champion. You are a warrior. This isn't your first time going through crazy things or hard things. This isn't it. You've done it over and over and over again. How did you go through those seasons before? How are you trained? Have you been doing your morning 5? So many people throw the morning 5 right out the window. Things get troubled. Things get trying. They want to sleep in. I'm telling you, that's a bad idea. Let's not throw that stuff out. That's the stuff that works. Ask Jeremy Noling. That's the stuff that works. See, I need you to go back. I need you to look and think back because you are a champion. And some of your activities and actions that you're taking right now may be leading you down a path where you don't feel that way. Instead, you feel more like a victim, or instead you feel out of control. Maybe you feel anxiety. Maybe you feel depression. Maybe you feel all of these things. And so I want you to remember your training. You are this powerful child of God with the ability to create. You're this unique, amazing human being. You've been through seasons before, and you will get through this one as well. The third part of the marathon, they say, is your heart. It's all done with heart and passion. So right now, I think in this season, it's very important that you check out your heart, or in other words, your spirit. Is your spirit currently fired up, or are you running on an empty tank? You see, I've been listening to guys like Bob Proctor again, and going back to 10X again, and going back to Who Moved My Cheese again. You see, I've been invoking the spirits of my ancestors, those that have come before me, the champions that have run in this world, and I'm making sure that they stir my spirit up, that they stir up my heart and my soul, that they give me that passion. I've been digging into the Word more than I've ever dug into the Word before. My wife, This is how my wife does it. See, my wife digs into this book, this Bible, every single day. It's how she fills her spirit up. People say all the time, how does she do it with all of those kids? And I'm sure a lot of the times, especially right now, she just feels like this, right? She's like, let me out. Let me out. It's crazy, right? I just want to get out. I want to go see my mom. I want to go travel. I want to do all of the things. And she's been cooped up in the house with 6 kids. But this is how she stays on top of her spirit. She digs into this book right here. I need you to check your heart and check your spirit right now. Where's it at? Where's it at? Are you staying fired up? Are you invoking all of the passion that you've got, everything that you've built up from before, all of those seasons, all of those times? Are you ready to unleash that? Because you need it. Those are the 3 stages. That's how you get through that last 10, 6.29. That last 10 is going to come from your heart. ESPN interviewed a runner who said this, and I love this. I love this. Write this down. I should have put it in text so that you could see it on the screen. This runner said this: at mile 6, some of us are scared of how far they have to go. Others are so proud of how far they've come. This week, let's break down the marathon from prior to start to finish. And let's use the lessons gathered let's use the lessons gathered and applied over the last 124 years to help us grow through this season. Fair enough? Listen, you see all these riddles and puzzles and stuff on Facebook. I'm going to give you one real quick. 2 men are standing on the starting line at the Boston Marathon. And the gun goes off, and one runs slowly, and one doesn't run at all. Who's going to get to the finish line first? Now, I know you're probably calculating, you're thinking, and you're going, oh, well, this one's got an extra shoelace, and this one's got, you know what I mean, all those little puzzles on Facebook, and they make you think that you know the answer and you don't know the answer. Well, I'm going to tell you right now, the answer to this one is really easy. The guy who started is going to cross the finish line first. Doesn't matter how slowly he goes. The other guy didn't even start. We need to develop the courage to get started right now during this season, to get started in creating the life that you want to live on the other side, through this and on the other side of this. I put together, we're putting together an office in my house. I got my Raiders office putting together, my black and silver. And I had to put together this floor that you see back here behind me. And this floor was very intimidating. I watched all the YouTube videos. It's luxury vinyl planking. I've never done anything like this before. I'm not a handy person whatsoever. So I watched all the videos and got a little intimidated and got a little scared and postponed. And I measured and I remeasured. And I thought maybe I'll go this way and that way. And maybe I can't do this. And there was all kinds of fears. And I'm going to screw this up and so on and so forth. And then finally I was like, you know what, dude? Just start. One plank at a time. Just start. And yes, it took me 2 full days. Yes, it took me about 20 hours. But you know what? Even though I was slow and steady, I'm definitely not the fast floor layer. I got it done. And I learned a lot of things along the way. It's time to get started this week. Let's get started. It's a marathon, not a sprint.